Plants were always toxic to us.
What? Plants were always toxic? What fresh hell is this? Well, the hell this be is this lady called Candi Frazier, a health guru, and as you might know with anyone who comes under the guru moniker, is a crazy bastard who's full of shit and has a wildly oversized fan base to go with it. And like any good/bad guru, she has a stage talk type thing that is $50 goddamn to watch. And there is no way I'm paying for that shit. Luckily, she has a bunch of shorts of her quote-unquote most profound ideas from said talk, so we shall be covering a few of those today. I've even put them into a somewhat coherent order. Not that anything she says is coherent, but you'll figure that out soon enough.
Plants were always toxic to us. Meat never was.
What? Meat can be toxic for all sorts of reasons. Not only are certain types of meats just plain incredibly bad for you, there's tons of animals that are just plain poisonous, including various frogs and other amphibians, a bunch of different fish and birds and slugs. That's a big one, really fuck you up with slugs. And insects, and the list just goes on and on. The idea that plants are poisonous but meat am somehow always good is completely ridiculous.
This is a list of meat that is deadly toxic to humans.
Well, I'm glad you seem to agree by immediately debunking what you just fucking said. And toxic is toxic. If it's deadly or no, it's probably not fucking good for you. Let's hope you're not planning to just downplay how many things there are that you really shouldn't eat the meaty of, eh?
Polar bear liver, because it's high in vitamin A.
Well, that's not a great start. I mean, you see what she's doing here? Look, it's just this very out of the way animal that no one is ever going to eat because hardly anyone lives in the big cold zone. Also, bears are dangerous, so it's fine. But there are other animals with specifically livers that humans shouldn't eat. Like, you know, the moose. Those were pretty around humans for a while and are maybe not quite so popular today, but I'm sure people still do eat them. But you shouldn't eat their livers for pretty much the same reason. And again, there are others. You know, lies of omission, they're still lies.
Too much vitamin A will kill us. Raw shark, because it's high in urea.
Raw shark. Why is the shark the only one you listed here? Most animals are highly risky to eat raw. And yeah, I know, there are the raw meat nutters like good old Sver Three Ridge that we haven't seen in a long time. I wonder how he's doing and why it's stupid. But yeah, there's a reason we cook our meats. Salmonella is a good one, especially in things like chicken, but most meats have some high risk factor if eaten uncooked. Not just frickin' shark. Again, for some reason, she just seems to forget all the things that are even more examples of what she's going to pretend is very uncommon. Almost like it would completely undermine her terrible fucking point.
We've got the pufferfish. It's a neurotoxin.
The pufferfish isn't even a good example because people literally fucking eat pufferfish. It's called fugu, I think, and it's famous for the fact that if prepared inexpertly, it could kill you. But people will go out and eat it anyway because they're fucking absurd like that.
And the Neora jellyfish. I don't think...
Finally, something true, because yeah, you don't. As this also ignores the plethora of reasons that various meats can kill you. Like the fact that meat is highly prone to spoilage, and animals get diseases that can spread cross-species to humans. And again, the cooking thing, and all sorts of other reasons meat isn't some magical, non-toxic, completely safe thing to eat. Nothing is, because this planet wasn't fucking made for people. It was made for me to eat you all. And if you don't buck up your ideas, I will.
I don't think humans spent much time trying to hunt those guys.
Well, again, the puffy fish thing shoots that out of the water. And again, there are other things that they absolutely did try to eat. And some or all of their parts were dangerous, especially if raw. And eating meat can be risky, but humans did what they do, and they mitigated those risk factors in various ways. A big one being selecting a bunch of animals that are relatively safe to eat if you cook them, cough, cough, and breeding the absolute shit out of them to be more gooder to eat, and in large numbers. Fact is, if you lived in a human-free environment, say 20,000 years ago, I think you would find a lot more things you ate would have to be carefully considered than you do today, because duh.
These are the only meats that are toxic to us.
Well, that's just an out-and-out fucking lie. Seriously, pretending there's only like 4 things that humans can't consume is about the most insanely dishonest thing I think I've ever heard. And I don't even understand what the game plan is here. I mean, what does she own, a fucking chain of butchers? Or is this just, here's my insane diet plan, but you better buy all my shit, otherwise you might fucking eat a carrot and explode? And I'm only half joking about that specific claim.
We can eat anything else. You want a lizard? Go for it.
Literally not true. Again, there are plenty of lizards that you absolutely could not just pick up and eat. In fact, that adds another one to the list. Some of them eat other poisonous critters or planty boys, and that's what makes them toxic to humans. This really is dangerous nonsense, and the fact this asshole has quite a significant following while spouting this inane drivel is frankly fucking staggering. Although unfortunately, not surprising to me considering most of my content.
You want a chipmunk? Go for it.
Risk factors for eating chipmunk include, but are not limited to, several diseases including fucking types of plague. You can get hantavirus, salmonella, leptospirosis. They also have ticks and fleas, which could infect you with any number of fun problems. And hell, they even have tiny little bones that you could fucking choke on. It's like you are being wrong entirely on purpose, because you probably are. That or you are actually fucking insane.
You can eat any kind of thing that moves, but plants?
Let's ignore where she's going with this and just remind her that plants can fucking move. Not in the same way that most animals do, sure, usually because they root themselves, but they can absolutely move back and forth, side to side, along. Famously, sunflowers watch the sun for maximum sunfloweriness. Also, types of plants that trail themselves up and around surfaces. Basically, they can climb things. Everything you say is steeped in ignorance, even the shit that isn't relevant to your terrible fucking ideas. Although, then again, if you weren't so goddamn ignorant, maybe you wouldn't be so goddamn ignorant.
More than 700 species of plants in the United States and Canada alone are deadly toxic.
Okay, and just stay with me now, at a cursory search for the number of native species of plants in just the US alone, so not including Canada's, and this is an extremely low number because it doesn't include a bunch of other shit, but if we use this 17,000 number, that means that the amount of plants that are deadly toxic is less than 5%. Wow, how fucking scary. So I can eat most fucking things. And bear in mind, if we included all of Canada and the other shit, that number is gonna drop probably below 1%. All this means is that you can't go around eating random plants if you don't know what they are. Just like you can't go around eating random animals if you don't know what they are. Basically, this whack job is pushing for a world where people are less fucking responsible than a 5-year-old. And we should just stick as many fucking things in our mouths as possible. It is stunning how asinine this shit is. And again, people pay to listen to her. Worst fucking timeline all the way down.
And once you know this, you can't unknow it.
I don't think that's true. I think you and the people who like you are more than capable of unknowing all sorts of things. Although to be fair, they would have to know things first, so perhaps she's a little bit right.
A lot of these plants we eat, like carrot, people think are food.
People think carrots are food? What madness is this? Everyone knows that carrots are spaceships. I mean, look at them. Clearly designed to fly through space. What else could you possibly use a long, tapered tipped cylinder for? Don't be gross. And you know, next she's going to tell us that mayonnaise isn't actually an instrument.
They're not food. The orange carrot was created at the turn of the 18th century.
First off, of course, they are fucking food. Literally any substance that you can consume that gives you nutrients, minerals, and energy, etc., is something that is considered to be food, as any definition of that word will show you. Carrots can provide you with many of the things that you need in order to run a successful human body. So, presuming you eat other things as well, you will thrive whilst eating carrots. It's absolutely fucking food, and anyone who says otherwise is an absolute mental.
And we act like they've been around since the turn of time.
What does that even mean? Anyone who knows anything about anything knows that most things haven't been around since forever. So maybe you act like that, and again, your idiotic, utterly incredulous audience. But most people aren't that fucking stupid. We know that things didn't exist at some point, especially things that humans had a hand in fucking developing.
This is a wild carrot, also known as Queen Anne's lace. They're far from the sweet and tender carrots we're used to.
What the hell is this? Did you make an AI mini-doc? Or is this the only info you could find in this weird format? Look, if you're gonna lie, just lie out of your face. Don't hire robots to do it for you, for fuck's sake.
Through selective breeding practices that began in the 18th century,
Agronomnominists, eh? And so what? It doesn't matter that something is relatively recent. Old doesn't mean good. New doesn't mean bad. For both, it means absolutely nothing. Something's value is based on what it actually provides, not some nebulous age rating. Otherwise, you would be making this video on old film stock and you would be uploading them via fucking carrier pigeon. And I don't even know how that would fucking work.
What, held under the dorsal guiding feathers? Well, why not?
agronomists transformed these wild roots into the big orange carrots we see today.
Okay. So what? Is this just a huge appeal to nature fallacy then? But then again, she's pretending that all plants will immediately kill you if you so much as fucking look at them. It's such a wildly inconsistent ideology she's spouting, and I wouldn't mind. I mean, vegetables are the worst, and I would love to have an excuse not to eat them, but I have to be a big boy and stick them in my face. And I also don't base my dietary choices off of complete fucking lunacy.
What most people don't know is that Queen Anne's lace, the root itself, was used as the morning after pill.
Well, that sounds inaccurate at best, but even if it's completely true, so what? Lots of plants do lots of things in lots of ways depending on how they are prepared, how they are processed, and how much of it is used. So even if the wild carrot was an abortifacient, learn that word today if you can't tell, that's going to entirely depend on how it was used to do so. And it also depends how effective it is. And most importantly, if it is even true for the modern carrot, which, shock fucking horror, it most certainly isn't. It's like not using a modern car because this older wheeled vehicle called a bicycle isn't suitable for being on the motorway. It's dumb.
It is so toxic, it will abort a fetus.
That is not how that works. That's not what toxic means or how we use it. What a surprise that yet again an idiot on this channel doesn't know how words work. In that form, that is not the same thing as it is now. It apparently has a property that people used to use it to do a thing. That is not the same as being toxic. Also, again, on the not the same thing point, if you asked me to hand you some mustard to go on your meat dish, would you be absolutely fine with me handing you some kale or some Brussels sprouts or a piece of fucking broccoli? I mean, it's all the same, isn't it? No, because it isn't. Because this line of thinking, if you could even call it thinking, is really fucking stupid.
And yes, it's not as toxic now that we've bred the poison out of them.
Oh my fucking god, doesn't exist. Are you serious with this shit? So all of that was a complete fucking waste of time anyway. And that whole bit about it being new, what exactly was that supposed to even achieve? They did a good thing to make the food not have this property we didn't want it to have. You seriously are one of the most infuriating pieces of shit I have ever had on this channel. What is actually wrong with you apart from the being a moron? Or perhaps that is the entirety of it.
But this is the root, and we're feeding them to our fucking kids, and it's gotta stop.
Oh, of course, that's why she picked this particular plant to pick on, because abortion, well, that's a hot topic, isn't it? And there's nothing like getting people emotional to help them switch off their fucking brains. And you know, I'm sure that just giving morning after pills to children is not exactly a good idea, but in this context, it is meaningless, because the modern carrot does not have that property. It just doesn't. That's not how food works, which is what it is. And if anyone should stop anything, it should be you pulling this endless stream of bullshit out of your ass.
I don't want to see babies eating herbs that are able to abort a fetus.
Again, let's assume that's literally what it does to a pregnant adult. What if it just can't affect someone of child age? Like, I'm not saying do that, but just the logic doesn't actually follow. It's meaningless and is just you trying to get people riled up. Riled up, mind, over something you're making up. A non-problem that's entirely to sell books or courses or this fucking conference to people you have instilled with a fear about nothing. You are just an extremely awful person. Honestly, I'm impressed. It takes real effort to be such a shithead.
That is what Queen Anne's lace looks like, and this is what we've created today.
Old thing look different from new thing. That mean it bad somehow. Seriously, again, this is what cars used to look like when we first made them. But this modern car, well, it's not aesthetic. Therefore, it's bad somehow. It is absolute non-logic.
This is the clown food. Do you guys see it? You see how it looks like it should be in a circus?
The only clown I see is you, and the only circus is the one filled with fools who believe everything you say without actually checking for themselves, or more importantly, thinking for themselves. But to be fair, if any of you had a fucking brain at all, you wouldn't believe any of this obvious bullshit.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was gonna tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the